First and foremost, I would like to give all praise, glory, and honor unto Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Habakak. I would also like to give a double honors unto the apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone that do rule well, that have taught me this truth. And I would also like to say a sincere shalom unto the hopeful elect, unto the scattered elect, the scattered men that are prophets, the prophets that are prophesying and laboring in this truth and in this doctrine. Unto you I say shalom. This will get your attention if nothing else will. And that I'm speaking of is your money. All right, when this devil Esau, he's in the process of setting up a global system, a new world order system, and when they attack your money, that is definitely going to get your attention. They could raise the prices of this and raise the prices of that, and but once they start messing with people's money, mainly Jake, all right, because we're at the bottom, all right, and every little dime that we get, we working hard as hell for it, all right. We're overworked, and all right for bullshit wages. So when you start to mess with Jake's money, freeze their accounts, hell, close their accounts. You do anything with messes with Jake's money, they're gonna get definitely a reaction. That's definitely gonna get Jake's attention. All right, but at the same time, the prophets, the believers, all right, the elect are not attached to this system. All right, the elect have spiritually detached from this system, so we understand this is going to happen. All right, and that I'm speaking of is an incident that took place in Thailand, and it also took place in Vietnam, where they froze multiple millions of bank accounts, even closed some bank accounts, in attempt to get the people to agree to biometrics on their, to access their accounts. All right, and the elder Mwatazak of the GMS LA camp, he did a lesson on this actual incident that took place. Vietnam shuts down millions of bank accounts over biometric rules. All right, and upon looking into this, I found this article when this was posted last week, the 23rd. It's just Thailand freezes over 3 million bank accounts, and they're doing it for the same reasons. All right, but the average Israelite, all right, it's so-called Negro, Latino, Native American, they see these things happening on the other side of the earth and never think that it could happen here in America. We're on the same system as them. They have debit cards, we have debit cards. They have checking accounts, savings accounts, we have checking accounts, savings accounts. So it's no difference, okay? And their government are, all these governments, you're going to find out, are all ruled under the international bankers, all right, the wicked elite, okay? Just because they speak a different language and they have different culture, that don't mean shit. We're all under the same umbrella, under this devil, okay? So let me read a little bit of this article. It's pretty much saying the same thing as this one. It says that Thailand has become a case study for the use of biometric data in every facet of life. All right, so they're basically, it's like a test run. All right, let's do this. Let's implement this and see how the people react. Okay, well, the people took it. Okay, great. That's great. Well, the people didn't take it. Okay, let's try this. Let's try this. This is Esau's really toying, all right, with their lives over there, and eventually he's gonna do the same thing over there. It's like a test run. All right, and then they'll take their notes, and then okay, when it's time to roll it out, they're gonna roll it out, and it's gonna be, they didn't got all the speed bumps and hiccups out of what their ultimate goal is. It's to go make everything go digital. All right, gather all this biometric data. All right, and eventually put a chip in you. All right, it says every banking transaction is monitored and scrutinized, and perceived discrepancy is flagged as fraud and punished without due process. So they could just take your money. Say, you know what, this is fraud. This looks like fraud. They don't even got to say this looks like fraud. They're going to just deem it fraud and take away your money. How much fraud goes on in the United States banking systems? Okay, people put in fake checks and all kind of fraud that goes on in these banks. So eventually they're going to adopt that same system over here, but it's going to be more scrutinized. Where if you're getting direct deposit, all right, you have a pattern of getting direct deposit every 2 weeks from your employer, and you get a direct deposit from somewhere else, they may deem it fraud. Okay, and eventually, like I said, that's going to get Jake's attention. That's going to say, yo, I was supposed to get paid, or someone's supposed to send me some money, or I was supposed to get a Zelle, or I was supposed to get a Cash App transferred to my account. Oh, they're saying it's fraud. Jake going to be up in arms. Jake is going to be, eventually going to rise up against these banks, against the government that supports these banks. All right, so let me read a little bit more. Regulations have overwhelmed the system, resulting in a full-fledged banking crisis. Over 3 million Thai bank accounts were frozen instantaneously without warning as a result of government overreach. And this is the government's controlling this. Transactions denied. You contact your bank to see why the payment failed, only to learn that your account has been frozen. All your accounts, for that matter, the bank is investigating you for suspicious activity and potential money laundering or fraud. So all these people that think they got millions, even billions, they got this, they got all these assets, and Esau is going to show you that you could be thrown in the poorhouse like that instantaneously. It don't even take a week. It don't even take a day. All right, you wake up with millions in your account, and you go to make a transaction at Starbucks, and hey, sorry, sir, your card didn't go through. What? I got $1 million. I got this much money in the bank. Call your bank. All your accounts are frozen until further notice. All right, till we're done with our investigation. Or how long can an investigation take? Oh, it could take anywhere from a month to 6 months. All right, and I'm just throwing numbers out there, but that's the type of things that they say, that they're going to say. All right, and you can't do anything. You stuck. All right, and this is going to happen. It will happen. Okay, this is prophesied to happen, that people are going to it's going to be lack of jobs. All right, and people are going to just bug out. All right, because of the living conditions. All right, and this is just a part of it. We ain't got into the famine, the pestilence. All right, the hyperinflation. All right, all these things are tied to the destruction of Babylon, and Esau is tying all the money system to one centralized place. Or eventually, they're going to come with a solution, and that solution is going to come in the form of that mark of the beast. Let me continue reading a little bit more of this. It says there was no warning, call, or letter, and there is no clarification as what transaction was flagged. You completely locked out of the account of your accounts and have lost the ability to purchase. Buying and selling. You have lost the ability to purchase. All right, you can, without this device, you can't purchase. That's what it get into. You can't fill your gas tank. You cannot purchase groceries. You've been completely removed from the financial system and do not know when or if you'll regain access to your funds. All right, you could be, saving your money. You could have an honest job. You pay your mortgage or pay your rent, and you put some up, and you got a nice chunk of change in your savings account. All that shit could be wiped out. All right, like that. All right, and what people going to do? First, they're going to ask questions. They're going to be upset. They're going to be, they're going to go through, several emotional phases. Eventually, they're going to be angry, and they're going to take matters into their own hands. All right, and that's going to come with going up to these banks, even though the banks can't do shit. All right, and they're going to take their anger out on somebody. All right, and more than likely the government. Okay, because the government is the one that regulates here in Babylon, America. The government is the one that regulates the banks. All right, this is the reality for millions of people banking in Thailand. The Bank of Thailand, with the Cybercrime Investigation Bureau Administration of Digital Economy and Society, began an excessive crackdown on perceived fraud and streamlined the process under the premises of safeguarding the banking sector. Thousands of accounts were frozen each week. Panic has ensued. Retailers are no longer accepting cards, demanding payments in cash, as they too are worried that they will be removed from the banking system. So this is a crisis, but what's the solution to this crisis? Okay, they're gonna come with that mark of the beast. All right, this is safer. Your funds will be, your funds will, you can't be hacked. All right, this is the new system that all these businesses and all these consumers will have to adopt if they want to get your money back. If you want to participate in society, if you want to buy and sell. Okay, so this is both sides. This is the retailer and this is the customer. All right, it says Assistant Governor of the BOT, Daruni Saju, publicly stated that the central banks are working to immediately unlock wrongfully affected accounts. Saju insists that the new measures will enable the banks to verify accounts in under 48 hours. Confidence in the government and the entire banking system evaporated. People rationally fear that their accounts will be targeted next without warning. Government overreach has backfired, and people are removing themselves from the banking system entirely. All right, so I ain't gonna. I don't need to read none of the rest because if you got eyes to see, you can see what the hell is going on. All right, the same thing happened over here in Thailand. Vietnam shut down millions of banks accounts over biometric rules, so they're implementing new rules. All right, it says Vietnam frozen 86 million bank accounts because the account holders didn't comply with the new biometric laws that require to face scan or fingerprint for account verification. If users don't comply by the 30th, they'll lose their money. This is why we Bitcoin. All right, so hey, you don't you can't verify your account, you're gonna lose your money. All right, imagine that. Imagine in our people, we don't got no real money. We ain't got no serious money like Edomites. Jake may have thousands or 10,000. Jake ain't got no millions in savings. All right, but imagine that these Edomites are gonna bug out because they're the one that got the most to lose. Even though Jake got had their money, but hey, this is the times that we're living in, and this is everyone's beginning to see the devil that we're dealing with. All right, who controls the world through debt. All right, it says. Let me grab that. Slakia. The book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, and I'm gonna start at verse 5. Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, as death, and is as deaf and cannot be satisfied, and gather unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. This devil is everywhere. He got his banks everywhere. All right, it's not a place, for a few exceptions, that this devil does not have a central bank. All right, Iran, I believe, is one. North Korea. It's like two other countries, but everywhere else, it's a bank controlled by the international bankers, the wicked elite. All right, verse 6. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his, and and to and to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. And that thick clay, the word is ibatya in the Hebrew, which means debt. Okay, this devil has built this world to control this world on debt. All right, and we all are, we all have to, are subject to payments here in this captivity. So we're all under debt. We're born into debt. Okay, and that's how he's able to control the world. All right, he has control of all the resources that we need to survive. All right, but you gotta understand, this man he's not righteous. He's wicked. All right, I can see if he was a righteous ruler that controlled all these things. No, he's wicked. He controls the people. He rules over the people with debt. Okay, there's no debt relief, and there's really no relief from this man except through this truth. Okay, this is the only relief that we'll get on this side, and eventually in the kingdom we'll have the ultimate relief because we'll have the curses up off of us, and we'll be in our right mind first and foremost. All right, we'll never go off. We'll never sin. Okay, but we'll be living in a righteous society. All right, we'll live and govern ourselves by righteous laws and a righteous standard. Okay, so let me go. Let me grab this real quick. I got a few scriptures lined up. I don't want to make this too long. This is the book of Baruch, chapter 3, and I'm going to hit verse 8. Behold, we are this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse to be subject to payments. We're subject to payments in this society, so we have to pay for things. All right, we have to. You can't. You don't own your house. All right, even if you do own it, you don't own it. You're still subject to property taxes. All right, we're still subject to rent, mortgages, food, gas. All right, basic necessities. All right, we're still in captivity. All right, we're subject to payments. We're still under curses. Okay, according to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from the Lord our power. All right, and it's only one that can lift those curses up off of us is our Lord Yahawashi, and He's going to do that when He comes back and sets up a righteous rulership. All right, let me go over to the book of Deuteronomy, because it said we had to go to this devil for the one of all things. All right, so eventually a new system is going to be rolled out where we may have to use biometrics, okay? But it's a point where you draw the line, all right? You draw the line, and you have to have spiritual eyes to know when to draw that line, because these niggas out here, all right, that's trying to save their life, rather lose their life, all right, they're gonna go all the way. They're gonna say, hey, yeah, if I gotta keep, want to keep my money, yeah, I'll take it, give it to me. If I want to keep this or whatever I have, yeah, give me the chip. Or it's going to be a lot of niggas out there. It's going to be a lot of Israelites that know they're Israelites that's going to take it because they don't want to lose their life. They don't see an end. They don't want this to end. All right, they're miserable, but they're truly not miserable. All right, they think that this is all right. All right, yeah, it's going to get bad. It's going to get bad for us. All right, but we understand the hopeful elect, understand that, hey, we got to go through it. All right, because we understand what's on the other side of the suffering, what's on the other side of going through the hell and the bullshit, what's on the other side of Jacob's trouble. It's rulership, all right, forever, all right, and that's what we're seeking and hoping for. All right, let me read this in Deuteronomy 28 in verse 48. Kind of quoted it. It says, Therefore shall thou serve thy enemies in the land which the Lord Yahawah shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in the want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. All right, so we have to go to this devil for the want of all things. Okay, we're stuck here until the Lord delivers us, Lord willing, with the elect. Until we're stuck here. We have to deal with the bills and the inflation and the mortgages and the rents and the high gas prices and everything else in between. All right, we got to, what eventually, is like I said, it's going to be a time where you got to draw the line. Okay, and that time is coming. We see, all right, the prophets are giving you the warning. We see what's going on in Thailand. We see what's going on. And basically, you can say damn near all of Asia is eventually going to adopt the system. All right, and Jake can sit back and think that could never happen here. Jake sat back and thought that COVID would never happen over here. Okay, and what happened? The whole world shut down. Your ass was quarantined. You was wearing a mask. All right, these bozos out here going to get jabbed up, because they thought that was a quick fix, and that's Jake's issue. Jake is always looking for a quick fix. All right, it's going to be a quick fix. It's a quick fix. All right, but it's going to take about an hour, and that quick fix is this place being ultimately destroyed. This rulership, this kingdom being completely wiped out, and a righteous rulership, all right, being set up. All right, so let me grab this. Psalms 10 and 6. I'm going to start at 6. I'm going to read down. He said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. All right, that's the mind state of this devil. All right, and since they control the money, since they control all the resources, they can't be moved. Okay, like I said, we don't control any of these industries. We don't produce our own water and produce our own electricity. All right, we don't have a natural gas reserve we can use. All right, we don't have any of that. All right, but this devil controls that. Therefore, they feel like they can't be moved. These devils really think that they're always going to be in the driver's seat. All right. His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. He sitteth in the lurking places of the villages. In the secret places doeth he murder the innocent. His eyes are privately set against the poor. All right. And this, incidents like this is eventually going to affect the poor mostly. All right. And who are the poor? The Israelites. The majority of our people, 99.9% of our people are poor. Okay. All right. We're not home, we're not homeless, but we're poor. We're on that lower class. Okay, whether you got a house, whether you got what you consider in this world assets. Okay, it just like that. One missed check, two missed checks. All right, one missed mortgage payment could set your ass back. All right, where you in a hole and you can't get out. Okay, so all right, we are the poor. Okay, but this devil, he sits and sets traps and snares for us because he knows we're at the bottom. All right, so they know when they bring this out, it's going to be a lot of people that oppose to it. It's going to be a lot of resistance, but eventually, what's going to happen? People are going to give in. Like, man, damn, I got to pay this. I got to pay my car note. I got to pay this. Man, all right, let me go up here to the bank and give them my, get the chip. That's essentially how it's going to go. That's how things are going to play out. All right, because Esau knows where to hit you at. All right, they could take away this, they could take away that, but once they start messing with Jake's money, Jake springs into action. All right, let Esau come short with Jake's check on Friday or whenever Jake get paid. All right, hey, Jake is up at the job. All right, Jake is emailing. Jake is seeing who they got to call. Oh, the checks didn't come in. Also, hey, I got to do something. All right, because so how much more when millions upon millions of accounts are affected. All right, that's when that second Ezra's 9, second Ezra's 15, 16 is going to be in full swing. Because not only are they going to mess with people's money, they're going to be messing with people's, shit, everything. All right, food prices are going to be high. All right, they're going to be implementing certain laws, certain restrictions on certain things that you can do and can't do. Okay, and they're already doing that with the speech, the freedom, so-called freedom of speech, which we don't have. All right, but that was something in the Constitution, the First Amendment, freedom of speech, but they're about to annul that eventually. Pretty much, say, hey, because right now you really can't say everything. You can't say, how you feel. You can't have an opinion. All right. But let me get the verse, 2 Ezra 9:1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself. And when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, hey, there's already earthquakes, multiple earthquakes, and it's uproars, it's protests of people in the world. But let this happen in America, okay? Let this happen in, parts of Central and South America. You're going to see an uproar of the people, all right? Especially amongst Jake, because Jake worked too hard for those pennies that we get, okay? And Jake gonna, and like I say, I don't never condone none of no violence or nothing, but it's going to get violent because we're dealing with a violent man. All right, we're dealing with the wicked. All right, and all he knows is violence. All he puts forth is violence. All right, so that violence, those violent dealings, is going to return upon him. All right. Let me grab this. Second Ezra's 15, and I'm going to start at verse 14. Speaking on the sedition. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. And there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, and they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So people are going to literally take matters into their own hands. They're not going to wait for the government. Okay, they're not going to wait for a specific date where they say, hey, on this date, we're going to do this, and you get your money back in this date. Nah, people got to eat. People got shit they got to take care of. All right, and the hopeful elect, is not going to be like the world. All right, hey, you're going to have a spiritual eye to know when, hey, to let it go. Like, hey, fuck it, they can take it. They can have the money. I'm not getting this. I'm not getting that. I'm not. You got to have a spiritual eye to know when you're at that point. Let me read this in the GNT. Same verse, 2 Ezra 15, and verse 14. The world and the people in it are doomed. The war that will bring their destruction is very near. Nations will arm themselves and fight against other nations. There will be great political turmoil, with one group trying to overpower another and gain control while ignoring the legitimate government. There will no longer be free access to cities because of the struggles for power will bring destruction, terror, and total confusion wherever people live. So the money system, disrupting the money system, is just one facet of it. All right, it's going to get crazy out here, and things are gradually happening. And believe it or not, things are happening fast. All right, it may seem like okay, nothing's happening. All right, another day, nothing's happening, but once it happens, it ain't no turning back. The Lord ain't gonna say, okay, wait. We got to wait till 2030 because Esau said he got an agenda for 2030. Like, no, shit. When shit pop, it's gonna pop. All right, and it's nothing that, hey, nothing you can do about it. Nothing that Esau can do about it. Okay, and all the prophets are here to warn you and tell you of these times that we're coming into, so you can prepare yourself spiritually, so you can prepare yourself mentally, so you can build up your faith, because those are the ingredients to salvation. Okay, faith, your works. All right, and repentance, and ultimately calling on the name of Yahawah Bahasham. All right, because the elect, all right, hey, the elect are not going to be in that same case as the rest of this world. All right, we're tied to this world by their money, by anything. This is Isaiah 65, and I'm going to start at verse 13. Therefore, thus saith the Lord, behold, my servants shall eat, but they shall be hungry. Behold, my servants shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servants shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed. Behold, my servants shall sing for joy of heart, and ye shall cry for sorrow of heart, and shall howl for vexation of spirit. And ye shall leave your name for a curse unto my chosen, for the Lord power shall slay thee, and shall call his servants by another name. Okay, and that's talking about the elect. Okay, but the elect are going to have, all right, when the rest of the world doesn't have. All right, and that's how the Lord, the Lord's going to take care of his. All right, he's going to take care of his elect. All right, the elect got to go through Jacob's trouble, but at the end of the day, it's going to be a hard time. It's that straight gate, but you have to go through it if you want what's on the other side. All right, and I want to, Lord willing, I want to go through the chariots into the kingdom. I don't want to be born into the kingdom. Okay, I want to be on. If I got to be a martyr, I have to be a martyr. But I want to be on those chariots. All right, I don't want to, have that stain of a 2/3. All right, this is Isaiah 33:6. And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. So that knowledge and that wisdom that we've gained through the truth, through the spirit of Yahawashi, that we continually receive, is going to keep us stable in that time. When say your bank account, man, my bank account goes out right now, I freeze my account. What I'm going to do? I can, obviously inquire why, and what can I do? But at the end of the day, it's the Lord. It's the Lord's doing. Okay, it's the Lord that's making the ultimate moves. It's the Lord that's making the chess moves. Okay, and using Esau to do so. All right, so Lord willing, this lesson was edifying unto the hopeful elect, and I would like to give all praise, glory, and honor unto Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Harakakudash, Shalom.